They say people who laugh the most often cry the most in silence. The night was quiet except for the distant frogs and the soft hum of rain on their zinc roofs. Inside the tiny one-room house, the lamp flickered. Adaeze sat cross-legged on the cushion. She was writing again. Her father, already asleep on the bed, breathed in and out peacefully, a rhythm she had grown used to. But Adaeze, she was wide awake again. She stared at her phone screen, her heart full, her mind heavy, and slowly she typed, loving someone who wants to heal but doesn't know how. She paused and smiled sadly. Was it fiction, or had her heart already started writing her own truth? The next day came with sunshine, but Shola's mood stayed grey. He arrived at the tailoring shop with no designer bag this time, no expensive perfume, just Shola, and a look that said, "I didn't sleep well." Adaeze was already inside, dusting the shelves and arranging fabrics like she always did. He stood at the door for a moment, watching her, then walked in slowly. "Morning," she said. "You look tired." "Didn't sleep," he replied, sitting on the stool. Adaeze didn't reply. She just continued folding fabric, her fingers smooth and careful. Then he did something unexpected. He pulled a folded paper from his pocket and handed it to her. "What is this?" she asked. "Something I drew," he said. She opened the paper and saw a rough pencil sketch of her sitting and sewing. "You drew me?" she asked, while shocked. He nodded and looked away. "I don't even know why." For a moment, she didn't speak. Then softly said, "Maybe because peace wants to remember where it found itself." He blinked at her. That was the first time someone ever made him feel seen. Later that day, while Adaeze was cutting fabric, a car horn outside. Shola peeped. It was his driver from Lagos with a brown envelope. Adaeze looked at him. "Are you expecting someone?" He didn't answer. He just stepped outside. They exchanged pleasantries with his driver, and the driver handed him the envelope and said, "Madam said to remind you, engagement dinner is this Saturday." They already printed the card. Shola didn't reply. He took the envelope, turned, and walked back into the shop, his face like stone. Adaeze noticed the shift but said nothing. He sat back quietly and began sketching something on the brown envelope. As the afternoon drifted into evening, Shola finally spoke. "I feel like I'm living someone else's life," he said. Adaeze looked up. "You don't have to," she said gently. He laughed bitterly. "You don't get it. My life isn't mine. My choices are for them, the family, the name, and the reputation." Adaeze said, "You know what I think? I think you're scared, but not of them. You're scared of becoming who you really are because you've never met that person before." Shola stared at her, no word. Back home, she wrote in her story again. "He gave me a drawing. I think it was actually a cry for help in pencil." She stared at the phone screen and whispered to herself, "He doesn't need rescuing. He just needs to decide." Just then, a notification popped up. Shola had sent her a photo. It was the sketch again, this time signed, and underneath he had written, "Thank you for letting me sit here and be no one." Adaeze smiled, not because she understood everything, but because she finally knew she wasn't imagining the connection. She was simply watching a boy try to learn how to breathe. I am going to see you in my next video, which will be the last episode of this particular story. Do not miss out. Subscribe, like, share, and stay connected. Bye.